name ID.
In every way. Also, please email us with pithy comments. Give us a thrill. O'Reilly at FoxNews.com, O'Reilly at FoxNews.com. Name and town, name and town, name and town, name and town. If you wish to opine, please do not bloviate. Allow me to have a monopoly on bloviation. That is it for us today. Thanks for watching Factor. Please listen to Radio Factor. Hannity Colmes is next. I'll have Bob Novak. I am Bill O'Reilly. We do hope to see you again next time. Remember, the spin stops here because we're looking out for you.
That is exclusive video obtained by Fox News of an altercation between police and a woman on the subway in Atlanta. Tonight, in an exclusive report, you'll hear from an eyewitness who says it all started because of a racial slur. Also coming up tonight, after 3 years, columnist Bob Novak breaking his silence about his role in the Valerie Plame investigation is a Fox News exclusive you don't want to miss. And you'll meet this young boy who's fighting cancer, now fighting in the courts to receive the treatment he wants. A powerful story. And remember the Wisconsin professor who espouses 9/11 conspiracy theories? We spoke to him exclusively on Monday night.
You think it was 19 guys with box cutters led by a guy on dialysis in a cave in Afghanistan? That's ridiculous.
Well, tonight he's been given permission to keep teaching. We will hear from one of his supporters. You're not going to believe what he has to say tonight.
And this is a Fox News alert. The situation in Israel is becoming even more tense tonight. Just a short time ago, an Israeli warplane dropped a bomb on the Palestinian Foreign Ministry building in Gaza City. Now, there are no reports of casualties yet, but the attack did cause widespread damage. Now, this comes as part of a promised Israeli retaliation for the kidnapping of Israeli soldiers by members of the terrorist group Hezbollah. And tonight, there is new concern that the Middle East is on the brink of war and that the conflict could in fact spread to nearby Lebanon and Syria and could even involve Iran, whose leader has threatened to wipe Israel off the map just this week. We're going to continue to update you on this developing story tonight right here on the Fox News channel. And at the same time, the politics of war here at home have taken a very ugly turn. The Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee has posted this fundraising video on their website. That's right. Those images of the coffins of slain U.S. soldiers are now being used to raise money for Democratic congressional candidates.
Joining us now with more on these developments, the host of War Stories, our own Colonel Oliver North. Colonel North, thank you for being with us tonight.
You're welcome.
Should there be some kind of an agreement to trade captured Arab prisoners for Israeli soldiers? Should there be some kind of negotiation?
Well, the Israelis have made those kinds of deals in the past.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's going to come down to whatever kind of political solution the Olmert government can work out with their neighbors. Here's the problem. The difficulties that exist right today on the north with Hezbollah are the consequence of Tehran and Damascus. Without the two of them, that cannot be happening. And second of all, without the support of the Arab Gulf states who provide petrodollars to Hamas, there wouldn't be this problem in Gaza.
So what do we do now? And should the United States perhaps get involved in some kind of third-party negotiation?
Look, there's a lot on everybody's plate right now. The G8 summit's just beginning in St. Petersburg. You've got not just the situation in Israel, you've got Iran, Iraq, India, Korea, Afghanistan, Venezuela, all on the plate for dealing with what's happening out in that part of the world. This is a powder keg. Message to Damascus. Be afraid, be very afraid.
Why do you point your finger at Damascus?
Because without Damascus, Hezbollah could not operate in Lebanon. Hezbollah is a wholly owned subsidiary of VVAC, the Iranian intelligence service. It operates there with impunity because of the Damascus
There has to be a
government.
political solution. This can't be solved by having broadsides at each other militarily.
Well, ultimately, let me just tell you, be afraid if you're in Syria. Be afraid if you're part of Hezbollah. They've got over 500 combat aircraft in the Israeli arsenal. They are willing to use it. Israel has been pushed to the brink with this, and this is an act of war. This is not simply firing
I want to talk to you
rockets
about the
into
DCC and what they're doing, and I'm not sure that I would do it that way. I'm not sure this is the best way to go about putting forth a point of view. But let's not forget, President Bush, in the wake of 9/11, the RNC sold photographs of President Bush in the plane for $150 a pop,
Wait a second.
commandeering 9/11,
Alan,
and that was offensive to a lot of people.
You cannot equate a political commercial of the President of the United States in a flight suit to using the bodies of
Not the
dead
flight
Americans.
suit. This is him.
I'm talking about any of this
9/11
stuff.
pictures being sold for $150 a pop.
The president, you know, he and I were there, okay? I watched the President of the United States climb up on that fire truck, grab that bullhorn from that retired chief.
And selling that to raise money for the RNC.
Over here.
This is sick stuff. Sick stuff that the Democrats have done.
This is as
Shame
sick
on
as
them.
anything they've ever done, and it's twisted. And I want to get back to that in a minute. This is really important. We're on the brink of war in Israel. If we've got Hamas, Hezbollah, we've got Iran, Syria, and Lebanon, and we've got rising tensions to this extent. We're on the brink of war.
Well, look, and I don't want to overstate this thing, but the Israelis have been pushed to the brink. You've now had Israeli soldiers kidnapped in the northern border and in the south. They made it very clear they want the soldiers back. There's not going to be a discussion with Hamas. The Israelis are literally cherry-picking the Hamas leadership out of Gaza.
Yeah.
And the attack tonight, the one you ran at the very front end of the show against the foreign ministry, was to get Mahmoud Zahar, who is one of the most radical, and their foreign minister.
Ollie, you know, Alan mentioned some diplomatic solution. How could the Israelis have any confidence in the United Nations that has been so blatantly anti-Semitic? Look at France. France today attacked Israel when Israel was the victim of what happened here.
And since 1948, the United Nations has never been the final arbiter of a peace
That's the
settlement.
UN partition plan.
That's right. The United Nations since 1948 has done nothing to bring about a tranquil outcome to what's been going on between Israel and its neighbors. Look, as long as you've got a government in the Palestinian Authority that is committed to the destruction of the state of Israel, you've got a government like that in Tehran with Ahmadinejad promising to wipe Israel off the face of the map, the assistance of the Syrian government, the Israelis feel like they're surrounded and they will react.
Right. Last question on this before we get to politics. You have a situation we're now dealing with North Korea. Ahmadinejad wants to blow Israel off the map. And here's the United States is faced with a dilemma. What should our response be? Because I believe we ought to follow the Reagan model. Stand by our friends and stand strong and peace through strength.
There's one power that has authority to talk in Pyongyang, and that's Beijing, and they need to be reminded. Your 2008 Olympics are on the table. If there's a shooting war and the Japanese preemptively attack those missile sites, all bets are off for your Olympics.
Well, we ought to help Japan get armed and prepare for worst case
scenario.
Pack 3
missiles, we've got to have them out there.
Very, very tenuous situation in the world. But let me go to politically here. We just showed the pictures, the CCC, and the use of these coffins of soldiers.
This is unconscionable. You know, you'd expect this from a political fringe group, but not from a political party in this country.
This is Rahm Emanuel. This is the leader.
And Pelosi and Steny Hoyer.
That's right.
And shame on them for trying to exploit the bodies of dead Americans for political purposes.
They appear in this video.
It's outrageous. It is unconscionable that they would do such a thing, and they ought to apologize to the families of every single soldier who's been killed in this war.
That is the thing I think right now they've got to do here, is that at some point they've got to stand up. They can't use dead soldiers for fundraising.
Well, but they are, and unfortunately they've gotten away with it. It's been up on the net. People have seen it. And undoubtedly, there are some radicals who are going to respond to it. The fact is, most Americans ought to be grievously offended, not just the soldiers, sailors, airmen, guardsmen, and Marines' families, but every American ought to be grievously offended that a political party in this country would stoop so low.
Is there going to be, should there be, will there be a backlash to this?
I think so. And I think what they've done is they misunderestimated the American people once again. I think the American people are going to be outraged by this.
But this has been the whole part of the war. Undermine the troops, undermine the president, wave the white flag of surrender.
And of course, that's why they've been branded as the cut and run party.
Now it's cutting and running, Ollie. We've been there longer than World War II. We have a Democrat, we've had elected government, they have a constitution, and they have a prime minister, and you want to call it cut and run.
It's cut, run, and surrender.
Not cut, run, and surrender.
Surrender first, blame
no one
America
who said surrender. Nobody said surrender.
That's what it means.
Well, by the way, Ollie North on War Stories this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Coming up next, Robert Novak breaks his silence about the Valerie Plame scandal in an exclusive interview. And then this 16-year-old cancer patient says he won't go through chemo again, and now a court may take him away from his family. He'll be here with his incredible story. And a violent confrontation between a woman and Atlanta Transit Police caught on tape. The man who shot this video will be here. He says it all started with a racial slur. Coming up.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Harris Faulkner. A showdown over Iran's nuclear program set to happen at the United Nations. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice calling Tehran's response to a proposal aimed at ending its controversial nuclear activities disappointing and incomplete. World powers sending Iran's case back to the Security Council for possible punishment, saying Iran has given no sign that it will bargain in good faith. President Bush in Germany for a visit with German Chancellor Angela Merkel, possibly to talk about Iran. It will be a brief stop, just 36 hours before the president moves on to the G8 summit in Russia. Reuters is reporting the chancellor is expected to voice concern